Today's book talk is for Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is a fantasy heist novel that follows a group of 6 teenagers who are in a gang together called the Dregs, and they're hired to break a scientist out of jail in an impenetrable ice fortress. This scientist has developed a serum that he can give to the magic users of the world. It's a group called the Grisha, and it enhances their magical abilities and potentially even weaponizes them. So the job is to get him out before that formula can get released and cause the world a lot of damage. So they have this impossible task for a huge payday that's going to change all their lives if they can accomplish their goal. So a couple of thoughts just about the book right from the get-go. The first thing is I really like the world building here. We have a great place to begin in Ketterdam and in the Barrel, which is the start. It's kind of a seedy underbarrel, kind of oceanside vibe at the beginning. And then over the course of the book, we transition into that sort of ice fortress where the heist actually happens. Both places are really good settings for the characters to be able to interact with really interesting elements, especially in the ice fortress. There's a lot of cool places for us to sort of see the characters have like challenges with their interpersonal relationships, but also with their surroundings. It really sets up well for the heist and having to sort of fight some of the challenges that are physically the setting itself. The characters that I thought were developed really well, in particular, was Inej, who's one of the 6 people who are on the team that's doing the heist. She's a circus performer who is sold into slavery and then sort of finds her redemption with this crew in the middle of this heist. So she was a really well-built character, and she was a lot of fun to read about. One thing that really hung me up with Six of Crows, and I've seen other people have this criticism too, is that some of the challenges in the heist were just too easily solved. So for me, a really good heist novel, like Michael Crichton's The Great Train Robbery, or even like heist movies like Ocean's 11 or Now You See Me, what makes them interesting is this idea that there's an impossible task in front of you, and you have to figure out how to solve that task. And the characters trying to work their way through that and to think around corners is what makes the story really good. There are a couple of places in Six of Crows where I just felt like the solutions were too easy. This book's been out long enough that I don't think it's a spoiler. There's a section in the book where they have to get through this impenetrable wall and there's no solution, and they kind of struggle with it for a while until the guy who has the key for it walks by and they just get the key from the guy and go through the door, and that's the end of that. There's also a place towards the end of the book where there's a chance for an epic standoff. When I got to this part, I was so excited. I was like, yes, here it comes. This is going to be awesome. And then they just sort of solve it with magic. Like, oh yeah, magic. And that's sort of the end. So I was a little disappointed with that. I don't mean to say that it wasn't fun or there weren't interesting parts or there wasn't creative problem solving in the book. There's just a lot of places where I wish that they had just like done a little bit more to come up with a creative solution. Some other things I really liked about the book is one of the themes of this book is sort of being broken and reclaiming your power. So each of the members of the crew that's doing the heist has some kind of trauma in their past, whether it's a physical trauma, severe emotional trauma, or in some cases both. And basically they reclaim their power over the course of the book, and through the heist they're sort of pushing back against society and finding themselves along the way as well, and figuring out that they can actually use their experience to make their situation better. So there's one really quick passage that I wanted to share that's about Kaz, who's the leader of the group that's doing the heist, and his brother Jordy. So this is from when he was 14. When he was 14, Kaz had put together a crew to rob the bank that had helped Hertzun prey on him and Jordy. His crew got away with 50,000 Kruga, but he'd broken his leg dropping down from the rooftop. The bone didn't set right, and he'd limped ever after. So he'd found himself a fabricator and had his cane made. It became a declaration. There was no part of him that was not broken, that had not healed wrong, and there was no part of him that was not stronger for having been broken. So for a book that's YA, I thought that was a really interesting and kind of cool message that I haven't seen in a lot of other places, and I just thought it worked really well to kind of see this trope of like a bunch of ragtag broken individuals working together to accomplish something incredible. And I think that makes for a really enjoyable read. So overall, I really did enjoy this book. I know that it's sort of a risky thing to say you didn't like this because I know that there are so many people who did. I thought it was perfectly acceptable. I don't know that I'm going to read it again, but at some point I might read the second in the duology. I did sort of start in the middle. The Shadow and Bone trilogy probably would have been a better place to start. Those are the 3 books that come before the duology. And then there's the King of Scars duology that comes after. So there's a whole Grishaverse, that's what it's called, the Grishaverse, that you can read if this is something that's really interesting to you. It is a fun read. I did find it enjoyable. I just don't think that it's the amazing book that some of the people that I've seen reviews from say it is, and it maybe isn't, maybe in my like pantheon of the greats. But again, still is a really fun read, and I would recommend it to other people. So if you liked my review, or if you disagree with me and you do think it's, you know, everything it's cracked up to be, then let me know in the comments or tell me what you thought. I look forward to hearing what you have to say about it. So in the meantime, I'll see you soon, and happy reading.